Welcome to my difficulty check for Chocobo Mystery Dungeon, everybody. Before I get into the game, I just want to say I won't really be giving scores anymore. The score changed depending on if I liked the game or not. If I liked it, it was about if it was hard or not. If I didn't like it, it felt more like it was if it was fun or not. So I just won't be doing score. I'm just going to talk about the game, about what I liked and what I didn't. And just go from there. So with this game, it is a mystery dungeon game, like the title says. And that usually just involves going around in a grid in randomly generated dungeons. I don't know if that's for every mystery dungeon game, but for this one it is. And I can say very much it is a fun game. And the difficulty hard is the highest you can go. And it's definitely a challenge. I have heard easy is just too easy, so you probably don't want to play that if you want any sort of challenge. Now, this will really depend on the person whether this is bad or not, but you do lose items when you die in the dungeons, and there's no getting it back, as far as I can tell. Once an item is lost, it's gone, which is where the withdrawal deposit bank thing comes in. But yeah, I can see people not liking that. I'm okay with it. I don't like it, but I don't hate it. It's just sort of like, okay, I have to go re-grind on my stuff. I only played up until about the third dungeon, I think. I loaded up an old save and just played for about an hour to kind of remember what it was like. But I think I was on the third dungeon, and I was grinding on a black mage, maybe? I don't remember who I was when I loaded up. I just immediately changed to black mage because that's honestly it feels overpowered. The magic is very strong. That could change in a different dungeon where maybe there's enemies that have magic resist, but I believe once you get the black mage, it's a little easier. The only thing that could really mess you up is if normal enemies crowd you, or bosses. Which again, this is a mystery dungeon game, so items are random. So you may not get very many high potions and have to grind out a lot. So if you don't like grinding, I would honestly stay away from this game because there's a lot of it. And with this being a mystery dungeon game and the items being random, it can be kind of annoying to get some high potions. But I always try to make sure I had those on me. Now, normal enemies, they're not all that bad by themselves, but if you get crowded, they can mess you up pretty bad. And you should really watch out for monster dens, because if they wake up, you might be screwed. Now, even though the black mage feels overpowered, I don't know how many classes there are. I would guess, just off the top of my head, somewhere around 8, a little more, maybe 12. And of course, each class plays differently, and I believe have different stats and all that. So you can make the game as challenging as you want to make it. If you just run around as a freelancer, I'm sure that would be way more difficult than running around as a black mage. So there's that. And with bosses, I remember them being difficult, but not very strategic. It's mostly just try to get out as much damage as possible, moving out of their area of effects if they have any down, like if it has a little fire puddle that gets left behind after it hits you. But I only fought 3 bosses, and I downed them as quickly as possible with a black mage, so I'm not exactly sure if they get more difficult or more strategic, but they're not all that bad. They can kill you pretty quick. I don't remember what made me stop playing, because like I said, I only got up to the 3rd dungeon in my old save. But I think it was just the fact that I had to run the same dungeon a bunch, and I just never felt like I was strong enough for the 3rd area. It seemed like the enemies were hitting way harder than me, and I felt like I had to level up a bunch of times, and I don't know. It got a little stale pretty quickly. But I haven't really been into mystery dungeon games since the Game Boy, I think it was Game Boy Advance mystery dungeon game for Pokemon when that came out. I haven't played one since then, really. But I can say, if you want a challenging mystery dungeon game, just play this on hard. Choose the freelancer and just stick with that if that's possible. I don't know if that's 100% possible, but if it is, do that. If you don't, if you want sort of a challenge but also kind of want to feel a little more overpowered, definitely say play Black Mage. I'm sure there's other classes that are pretty strong. So there you go. I think I could recommend this to people that want a good mystery dungeon game. This one was pretty quick to make because I had another game ready, but I decided to save that until December for reasons. Also, I wanted to give time to cool down because I will say I was a little harsh on it the first time I recorded for it. So I'm going to re-record that and then talk about it again when I'm less frustrated with the game. But there it is, Chocobo Mystery Dungeon, everybody, difficulty check.